Today I'm trying to complete a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Gold and Silver with only fire types. That means if a Pokemon faints, it's permanently boxed, no items are usable in battle except for held items, and the game must be on set mode. Huge thank you to the Cake King 9400 for recommending me to do this challenge. When I read that I had to do minimum battles for 3 gyms in a row for this, I was immediately intrigued to see if that's even possible. If you want to suggest a Nuzlocke for me to try in a video in the future, feel free to leave a super thanks in the comments below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and before we get into it, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Alestrals Awakened. Fellow Pokemon creator A-Drive has been hard at work since 2022 with the Alestrals trading card game, and as somebody who has a lot of experience in both the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card games, I have had a ton of fun with their physical TCG along with their online client, Alestrals Clash. But now A-Drive and his team are creating a brand new 2.5D pixel art monster catching RPG, with fellow creator Shady Penguin acting as the RPG's creative director. Set in ancient Greek mythology, you'll be able to discover the mysteries of the Titan War, challenging divine beings like the lightning rod Zeus or the tidal wave that is Poseidon, bonding with one of the 8 elemental spirits in order to do so. The most intriguing part for me is how, just like in the TCG, your spirit deck acts both as your life total and your mana for activating cards, spirit points as a mechanic will be both HP and energy for fueling combat actions. Think of HP and power points in Pokemon being mixed together into one pool that needs to be managed effectively. And for all of those shiny hunters out there, you'll want to look out for Stellar Alestrals, alternate color monsters that even have a few unique abilities and features compared to their standard counterparts. They're currently running their Kickstarter campaign from now until November 7th, and backing is the only way you'll be able to get alpha and beta access, or become even a named NPC or caster in-game. If you're a fan of monster catching RPGs like Pokemon or Digimon, this is definitely one you should keep your eye out for. Don't miss out, the Kickstarter again ends on November 7th, and as someone who loves seeing the difference between the beta and final release of games, like with ZA recently, there's no way I'd miss being able to get hands-on experience with the beta alongside the final release. But with that, thank you so much to Alestrals Awakened for sponsoring today's video. It means the most because I cannot believe I'm getting sponsored by people that I was watching as creators when I was in middle and high school. It's really cool. And without further ado, let's set Johto ablaze in this Fire Nuzlocke. No matter what version I pick, there's only 8 Pokemon available in each, with Growlithe exclusive to Gold and Vulpix in Silver, so I'm going Gold straight away due to Growlithe and by extension Arcanine's coverage with the likes of Bite and Dragon Breath just being straight up better. However, that's not available until after Whitney, so no need to dawdle on the doggo. Instead, it's Cyndaquil time. With an extremely low level cap of 9, I legit cannot take on a single extra trainer or battle wild. Oh lord, it's rough. So I'm gonna need to make sure I have as many items as possible for holding. Thankfully, I can just reset the time over and over again on this berry tree on Route 29 to get enough for the rest of the game, which helps with the first required trainer in the Rival, who ends up falling to Cyndaquil's numerous tackles as the berry helps me outpace the damage capable from Totodile, with 3 more required trainers afterwards. 1 on Route 30, and 2 in Faulkner's gym. The one on Route 30 is low enough level for Cyndaquil to get through effectively enough, getting to level 7 right before entering the gym. Unfortunate as well, no Slugma egg here in Violet City, unlike Heart Gold and Soul Silver due to the lack of Primo, so it's Cyndaquil against the world. The first trainer is at the level cap of 9, and with help from a berry and a few smoke screens, I'm barely able to eke out a KO, literally having to dodge about a half dozen attacks at 3 HP in order to KO and get to level 8 before the second trainer. The second trainer is a little safer, with the Pidgey being KOable with 4 tackles, bringing Cyndaquil to level 9 as a few more smokescreens and tackles puts down the second Pidgey, with Cyndaquil just narrowly keeping himself under the level cap for Faulkner. The one problem though is Mud Slap. I basically just have to roll good enough RNG to where Smokescreen will connect enough times to drain all 10 power points of Mud Slap without getting hit by it too much before Pidgeotto. Otherwise, there's just no hope of being able to win. My luck starts fantastically though, hitting 4 smokescreens as Pidgey misses 3, finally connecting with a single Mud Slap to bring Cyndaquil down to -1 accuracy. From there though, Pidgey misses with every other attack as I get him down to -6 accuracy, hitting enough tackles to KO without even the held berry activating as Pidgeotto enters second. Thankfully, this bird doesn't have Mud Slap, otherwise I'd be toast with the super effective damage coming my way, but I'm able to get him down to -2 before a gust hits, then to -3 as another hits and triggers my berry, but sheesh, I'm just missing smoke screens left and right now, then I'm only at -1 accuracy. Thankfully, Pidgeotto only manages to pull Cyndaquil to 11 HP with a few more gusts before I start connecting with my accuracy deprivation again. though I'm a bit too worried to continue smoke screening for diminishing returns at this point. So it's just Hackle City hoping to God I don't have to stay in early game hell. 4 managed to connect before Pidgeotto hits another gust, bringing Cyndaquil down to just 4 HP, but 3 more managed to fell the bird, earning me the win on my first try. Not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna be here a lot longer than I was. Thank the Lord, I was not looking forward to the idea of just rolling that RNG until it worked out, since there really isn't much else you can do other than break the rules and overlevel. Anyway, on to Gym 2. I only hit 1 optional trainer on Route 32 before heading on through Union Cave to arrive in Azalea Town, thankfully with Cyndaquil evolving to Quilava over the Slowpoke well. Team Rocket's cleared out with none of them posing a challenge, and despite that, the level 14 coughing inside of the area brought Quilava to the level cap. So I barely had enough EXP room to take on the 2 required trainers in Bugsy's gym, making it by the last optional one before taking him on. Unsurprisingly, due to the type advantage, Ember massacres Metapod in 1 shot, Scyther takes 3 shots while 3 Fury Cutters ends up doing about a third to Quilava, leaving just Kakuna to be burned to cinders, earning me the Hive badge. Good stuff, but frankly, he's not the last early game Hellcheck. The second rival fight is. In fact, I'd like to grab the charcoal from the Azalea Mart before heading into this, since otherwise I don't think I'm going to hit the necessary damage ranges for everything aside from his starter. Speaking of, Croconaw is a huge threat with only 1 Pokemon, so I hope your RNG skills are in order, such as against his lead Ghastly with Lick, taking 3 damage but not being paralyzed as 2 Embers takes him out. Second is Croconaw, and frankly, I'd rather deal with him instead of Zubat first. Smoke screening the Croc while eating a water gun, managing to get him all the way down to -5 and use a Leer before tackling him down, finishing it with a crit and only eating that single water gun as Zubat comes out last. Now, the only threat to me is self-inflicted damage from Supersonic Infusion, which ends up connecting after the first Ember, but Quilava pulls through, delivering the second and final Ember to Zubat for the KO and the win. Awesome, that is the last early game check. Now, you'd think that Whitney would be the last check, but once I get to Goldenrod, I actually have just enough room EXP-wise to go down into the underground, retrieve the coin case, and go into the game corner. Now, while I don't have much money, I can save scum until getting the jackpot, saving and then continuing until getting enough coins for Fire Blast. And hey, while I'm at it, why not just keep doing that for coins to get items to sell so I can get vitamins and other items? Well, because that would take too long. The much faster way to do it would be resetting the time over and over again in front of the lady that gives you the TM for return every Sunday in the Goldenrod department store, assuming the Pokemon in your lead slot has high friendship. Not to mention, I need a few copies of that TM for Quilava in future encounters, so why not? A couple dozen vitamins pumped into Quilava here, a couple Fire Punch TMs there, and finally some lemonades topped off with Fire Blast in return at the ready, I'm good to go for Whitney. Or I would be, but I've got to pump some vitamins into myself thanks to Gamer Subs, the only caffeinated beverage I drink because it doesn't give me a crash afterwards. Psst, use my affiliate link in the description and code ChaoticMeat at checkout for 10% off, so maybe one day I can get my own co-branded cup or flavor. Now that Clefairy falls to 1 charcoal boosted Fire Blast, with Miltank eating 1 bringing her to red HP immediately, and because Whitney locks herself into rollout straight away, she can't heal with another milk drink or an item, leaving a return to finish her off and earn me the plain badge in quick fashion. Yep, definitely out of the RNG portion of the run, well, unless you count Fire Blast, but that in return are indeed gonna carry me. I wish I could get Flamethrower though, but I gotta wait until level 60 for that. Great. While with Whitney down and the squirt bottle in my possession, I can quickly head over to Route 36 to not only get my second encounter in Growlithe, complete with no roars in sight to lose the encounter, but to open up my way past that pesky Sudowoodo into Ecruteak City. There happens to be another encounter in the Burn Tower, of course, but that's blocked by the rival being a poopy head right at the entrance, so I wanted to raise my levels on Quilava and Growlithe just a little further before going in there, taking on the Komodo girls to get the A-Jump for Surf, as well as the trainers inside of the gym before heading in the... Wait, hold up. I forgot you could just fight the trainers and Morty in the gym before even stepping foot into the Burn Tower first. Very funny how much of the game you are just not forced to interface with at all if you don't have a vested interest in completionist activities. Regardless, I still went into the rival fight before Morty, leading Growlithe against his Haunter, taking a curse that leads to him being downed by a bite, taking no damage in between turns as Croconaw's out second. No, not dealing with him with Growlithe, so I'm using Roar to bring in Zubat after taking a light rage, swapping into Quilava to shake off the curse and roast it to bits with a Fire Blast, leading back to that aforementioned Croconaw. Return does plenty of damage, though it's just shy of a 2-shot KO, so I fire off 3 to KO instead, leaving just the Steel-type Magnemite to melt into a fine puddle at the hands of Fire Blast, earning me the win and letting me get my third encounter on the basement floor in Magmar. Oh, finally! Something I can get some helpful coverage on. Magmar can learn Thunder Punch, and so it shall be my designated water-type killer. Still don't have a good out for rock and ground types yet, but I'm more than happy to have one common type accounted for. As for Morty, he's leading Ghastly as I go with Growlithe, biting him down in one shot as Haunter enters second, needing one that, of course, is a range to KO and Growlithe blows it, as most are ought to do when it comes down to a damage range and me specifically. This leads to a Hypnosis connecting and Growlithe not waking up for 3 turns as Nightshade puts her in KO range. Well, shoot, out to Magmar we go. Even though I wanted to wait for Gengar to do this, Fire Punch finishes the job, leading to said Gengar, who eats a Fire Blast, and it barely manages to survive, once again hitting Hypnosis. Not allowing for Dream Eater to ruin my well-earned Fire Blast damage, so it's out to Quilava to finish him with Ember, then Fire Blasting the last Haunter with a critical hit to rub salt in the wound, earning a decisive victory and the Fog Badge for my efforts. Half down, half league, and another hole, and a silent asshole on a mountaintop to go! With my level cap increased to 30 for Chuck, it's practically open season regarding the next 3 gym leaders, but I do want to take care of something first. First up, of course, Eevee over in Goldenrod City, and while I can't get a Firestone until Kanto... Actually, there's only one in Kanto at all, so it's either Flareon as a final team member, or Arcanine for Growlithe to reach its full potential. And that's just not fun. Secondly, there happens to be a fire type that I can't use yet due to the encounter level until Claire, but I figured I'd go out of my way to grab using the time password to eventually give me my Master Ball from the Goldenrod Lucky Lottery, and that's Entei. After releasing all 3 of the beasts from the Burn Tower, they're free to roam as they please, and I just so happen to find Entei as my first roamer on Route 37, throwing that Master Ball immediately and chucking it into the box to be withdrawn later. Will I need a legendary to beat this challenge? Well, considering there's no more non-legendary fire-type encounters until just before the Pokemon League, we will have to see. Leave a comment down below with your prediction. Nothing much to make in the areas of Cianwood, Olivine, and Mahogany flyable, and with Fire Blast, I frankly don't need to hit the level cap for these fine folks. Magmar does just fine at level 27, Fire Blasting Chuck's lead Primeape and finishing it with a Fire Punch, with 2 Thunder Punches, running over Poliwrath to earn me the Quick Win and the Storm Badge. Despite the level cap being 31 for price, since Jasmine's at 35 despite being the 6th gym leader for some inexplicable reason, I wanted to go in numbered order because screw you, that's why. So the level cap remains 31 for Jasmine. 2 Fire Punches for the Magnemites and 1 Fire Blast for Steelix from Magmar. Good day, ma'am. And would you look at that, I'm still low enough level to plow through the Route 43 into the Lake of Rage, grabbing the shiny Gyarados for HM usage, then heading into the Rocket Hideout after Lance melts this guy's face off with Hyper Beam. Seriously, how is this guy not dead? That's like getting hit with a Kamehameha to the face and being like, ouch, instead of, because you'd be dead. While there are 2 Rocket executive fights in here, the faceless versions of Petrol and Ariana, quite frankly, did not put up any fight, and legitimately would not have done any damage to Quilava if it weren't for me missing with Fire Blast. They're down so easily that I see no need to talk about them individually, as are the Electrodes with charcoal-boosted Fire Blasts, making way for Price. Once again, Magmar is the perfect out of this fight due to Thunder Punch being able to take care of the partial water types in Seel and Dugong, in case in point one-shotting both, though I imagine Dugong the crit was required to pull that off, and I'm more than a happy camper to not have figured out what water type move Dugong had up its sleeve. Last out is Piloswine with 1 Fire Blast later and he's out of here. 7 gym badges and no Pokemon over level 30. Dear Lord, why is the level scaling of Johto so goddamn terrible? Thank you for the Glacier badge. Now then, Rocket Radio Tower time, complete with Entei entering the party now that the level cap is high enough. Frankly though, I saw no need to use it yet since Quilava just stomped the regular trainers, Magmar one-shot all 6 of the first executive's Pokemon, the rival was ripped to shreds with Thunder Punch from Magmar and Flame Wheel from Quilava and Golbat, 2 returns from a Quilava and a Thunder Punch from Magmar and Feraligatr, then Haunter, Magnemite, and Sneasel ate 1 Fire Blast apiece from Magmar to finish the fight. Still going strong, no deaths, no usage of Entei. I'd like to beat this challenge without using a legendary Pokemon since they kind of are game breakers, even if Entei's base stat total is only 580 and worse than a pseudo-legendary, though Ho-Oh might be needed if I truly need a ground-type counter. After wiping out the rest of the grunts, there's 3 executives standing at the top of the radio tower. One has a lone Golbat that's down by 2 Thunder Punches, though the second is probably the most trouble I had with them. Magmar kinda just got kicked around a little in this fight thanks to paralysis from Arbok's Glare, following a barely missed one-shot from Fire Blast, forcing Magmar to take about half damage while Thunder Punch finished off Arbok, then KO'd Murkrow, finally shifting over to Fire Blast for Vileplume to finish the battle. Not horrible, but I admit I've just been lazy about not leveling up my Pokemon despite knowing the level cap would easily allow for me to throw the EXP share on Growlithe and bring both Magmar and Quilava to around level 38 or so. Alas, my starter still hasn't evolved, and their levels resemble the age of Windows 3.1. Despite that, Houndour still goes down to 2 Thunder Punches, Coughing still goes down to a Sunny Day boosted Fire Punch after we dodge. Tackle, yes, notable move known for being very effective after the 7th gym. Tackle! Down goes Coughing, leaving just Houndoom to fall to 2 Sunny Day boosted Fire Blast to kick them to the curb, moving right through Route 44 and Ice Path into Blackthorn City. Now frankly, I'm miles away from the level cap, so I just went through the region and picked off all the trainers I was missing both for money and for stat experience, and I needed to evolve Quilava into Typhlosion. Crazy how it took until the last gym leader to fully evolve my starter when that sucker's fully evolved by like after Gym 4 in X and Y, or Gym 5 in Black 2, White 2, albeit that one's with challenge mode so I can't compare it as equally, but you get the point. Even clearing out all of the trainers throughout the entire region was still like 5 levels short of my team hitting the cap. Crazy. But with everybody caught up, it's time for Claire. Magmar is able to get the first KO for free thanks to a held PRZ Cure Berry, using 2 returns to KO Dragonair as Kingdra enters on the follow-up, immediately being nerfed by Sunny Day as Surf only does 38 damage. Dragon Breath does more damage on the follow-up as Return does a little less than half, unfortunately paralyzing Magmar and forcing me to swap out into Typhlosion, or else suffer the first death of the run to a Hyper Beam. And sure enough, swapping was the right play, hitting a Thunder Punch that brings her down into the red on the recharge turn. 1 Hyper Potion and 2 more attacks later, and she's back into the red, but Smokescreen gets Typhlosion to miss next turn as Surf brings him down to just 22 HP. Oh geez, I am in a rough spot. I probably have to risk another miss here, or else Growlithe just gets slaughtered by Surf on the switch, and thankfully Typhlosion hits the final return, letting me get to the second Dragonair and swapping immediately into Growlithe. Thunderbolt does a little over 20% on switch in, but it's a free KO with 2 returns thanks to another held PRZ Cure Berry. I was kinda hoping I'd be able to do this on all 3 of them by using that PRZ Cure Berry on all 3 of my party members, with Entei just sitting there glaring at Claire like a large pit bull ready to kill any intruder on sight. And despite Claire's final Dragonair attempting to Thunder Wave herself out of this game, Growlithe isn't immobilized after the Dragon Breath, KOing with a second and final return to earn me the Rising Badge, after grabbing the Dragon Fang in the Dragon's Den. If only I had gotten that Dragon Breath TM earlier, Growlithe really would have been a lot more useful if that were the case, but at least she took down 2 Dragonairs. What can I say? Even though the bitch has a lower attack DV, Return is still 102 power and wrecks house. The fact I can say that and it be factually correct due to this being a female Growlithe, which is a dog, and her physical attack being low due to the way Gen 2 determines gender by attack DV, sure is something else. Regardless, with the Rising Badge in the books, that's half the badges in the entire game, but that's all I need to get into the Pokemon League. Professor Elm, though, has a special surprise for me, that being another Master Ball. Well, say hello then to the Tin Tower and one fire-flying Ho-Oh that rests atop this fine structure. By the way, do you think they renamed the Tin Tower to the Bell Tower in Heart Gold Soul Silver because tin sounds too much like twin? These games did come out less than a year before, food for thought. In all seriousness, it's actually unclear as to what the correct translation is. And huge shoutouts, by the way, to Hiragi Emery, by the way, for answering my question on this. To paraphrase what she said, Suzu is written in katakana, so it can mean anything, whereas if they used the kanji for Zuzu, either this one meaning tin or this one meaning bell, it would then be readily apparent which one is correct. Alas, Japanese Pokemon games didn't have the option of playing kanji until Gen 5, so there was no way without interviewing the game's scriptwriter of their original intent. In fact, she even found a Japanese blog post talking about this specific thing because of how it's unclear even to native speakers. But it certainly seems like the remakes made the effort to unify everything under the bell interpretation, given the bells that are around both Ho-Oh and Lugia's encounter areas, and the usage of the clear and title bells in tandem with the Rainbow and Silver Wings. I've always had this question gnaw at the back of my head whenever I play any of the Johto games, so I hope that answers it for all of us. One obligatory waterfall later, and Route 27 is home for my next encounter in Ponyta. Finally, a good physical attacker! It'll be really nice to be able to take advantage of moves like Iron Tail. And like nothing else, since that's the only other physical move Rapidash gets aside from Return as the best normal move. A shame, really, because I would have loved to give, like, Earthquake or Dig to Rapidash over Typhlosion, but I suppose this is fine, given Typhlosion has the out-to-water types and Thunder Punch now that he's fully evolved, so he may as well have the out-to-rock types as well. Still not sure who to give Solar Beam to after grabbing it on Route 27, though. I likely don't need it until Kanto, though, so I'll probably hold off until the Kanto encounters are available. Only 6 more battles to get there, though, with the rival approaching for the last time right before the exit of Victory Road, leading Sneasel on level 34 against my Typhlosion at level 46. Yeah, this definitely doesn't seem fair. This team really should be level 40 minimum, with the ace starter at level 45, but I digress. Fire Punch takes out Sneasel, a Thunder Punch and return combo fells this for Alligator through a Water Gun, Thunder Punch zaps Golbat, Earthquake rocks Haunter since we're only in Gen 2, no Levitate to deal with here, then it's just return for Kadabra's Paper Thin defenses, and Earthquake for Magneton Squad weakness, even though I could have totally melted this one into 3 piles of metallic goop with Fire Punch, earning me the win in quick fashion. And with the team fully brought up to level 47, well, the 4 non-legendaries, even if I have to use Entei and Ho-Oh, I still want some semblance of challenge by keeping them as underleveled as I can. First up in the league, Will, leading with Xatu as Typhlosion kicks us off with a punch. Thunder Punch, that is, to get the one-shot KO, nearly doing so to the follow-up Slowbro that approaches with Amnesia. But to play around the potential full restore, I just go for return, KOing next turn since there's no healing item to worry about. Xatu number 2, same verse, same as the first, while Jinx enters 4th and eats a hearty dose of Fire Punch to go down. That just leaves Executor, and it goes down to the same to give me the damageless dub. And I don't even need to do anything before fighting Koga. Just Fire Punch to Ariados and Fortress, Earthquake to Muck. But this guy's bulky and manages to put up a minimize, making Typhlosion miss for a turn as Sludge Bomb does a pitiful amount. Wow, I expected that to do like double what it did. Wow. Learning return KO as Crobat falls to a Thunder Punch in 2 returns, with the first of them being a crit following a full restore, finally leading Venomoth into flame as a Fire Punch finishes the battle. Not too shabby. But I did take damage. What little that was, it really isn't a problem, but I did take damage, so that's a loss in my book. Third up, Bruno. No Psychic type moves on my arsenal, but I've got plenty of Sunny Day boosted flamethrowers to go around. I attempt to go KO his lead Hitmontop with Magmar's Flamethrower first thing since I'm expecting Dig due to the super effective damage, but it barely misses its mark as he goes for Dig. Shoot. Naturally, since I'm outspeeding next turn, there's no reason not to go for Sunny Day, taking the minimal damage and finishing him off next turn as Onyx comes out second, going down to a single Flamethrower. Machamp is third, and I believe this is either a range or just shy of getting the KO. If it weren't for a crit. Thank you, game, for not forcing me to take a Rock Slide. Fourth is Hitmonlee, letting me fire off one last sun-boosted flamethrower to KO, leaving just Hitmonchan, who's just kinda dead in the water, eating a flamethrower in the face of Mach Punch to bring him into the red as a second after another Mach Punch puts him 6 feet under. Awesome. Now for the actually decently difficult fights. Now, Karen's a bit of an enigma, since while Dark types aren't big damage dealers at this point in the franchise, Umbreon certainly is a bit of a pain in the ass to send to Belize due to its bulk. My solution was to just keep swapping around and get a pot shot in here, another one in there, all while trying to take as little damage as possible from self-induced confusion damage, not hitting at all from Sand Attack, and small pokes with Feint Attack. Thankfully, an Earthquake from Typhlosion, 2 Dragon Breaths from Growlithe, and a return again from Typhlosion to take out the annoying bastard, leading to Gengar, who proceeds to immediately eat shit thanks to Earthquake. Murkrow's down by Thunder Punch, Houndoom to Earthquake, and Vileplume to Fire Punch to earn me the win. Yeah, I mean, I guess the most annoying part of that fight was Umbreon. Kinda thought the variety might have led to a tougher challenge, but I do forget sometimes this is a Johto game. And of course, it's time. If anybody's gonna knock out a Pokemon on my team and into the box, it's Lance. Let's just hope that isn't the case here. Gyarados is a simple takedown as his lead with Magmar, Thunder Punching him to Kingdom Come as Aerodactyl enters second. An understandable choice, but when it comes to getting lucky from Rock Slide dodges, I'm your man as Magmar KOs damageless with 2 Thunder Punches. Third is Dragonite number 1, and boy, I wish I had access to Ice Punch right about now. But I have me a Growlithe with Dragon Breath, so I guess I'll work with what I've got. She ends up dodging a Thunder Wave on Switch In, letting me hit Dragon Breath next turn and paralyze Dragonite as once again Thunder Wave misses, but the second connects and that's a full paralysis turn for me, letting my Growlithe, who is lower level than a Dragonite, take it out in 3 Dragon Breaths without a single point of damage. Absolute comedy. Oh my god. In fact, Growlithe manages to do so with 2 Dragonites. That's right, dodging a Hyper Beam and taking a Thunder Wave that's immediately healed off with a PRZ Cure Berry is all she needs to hit 3 more Dragon Breaths to KO the second of 3 Dragonites. Oh my god, what is going on? Fifth is Charizard, and I figure, what the heck, I'm probably gonna have to take out that last Dragonite with my other 3 team members, so I just opt to go for a few returns, taking a little less than half damage from Flamethrower and Slash to take him down, and leave just that large, level 50 Dragonite with Outrage. I have just enough HP for Typhlosion to take 3 non-critical hit Outrages, so I swap in, take the first, hit return, then take the second for a total of 109 damage between the 2, being left with 63 HP as a second return connects. From here, there's a few outcomes that can happen. A. Dragonite's locked in for a 3rd turn, doesn't crit and I win deathless. B. Dragonite is locked in, crits, and I win with only 1 death. C. Dragonite hits itself in confusion and I win. D. Dragonite doesn't hit itself in confusion and blasts my ass back to Roblox with a Hyper Beam. Or in my case, E. He hits himself and brings Dragonite into full restore range when I can't use a healing item. Fortunately for me, I still have a solution, as while I can get a third return off of the turn from the full restore, I can swap into Rapidash next turn on the expected Hyper Beam, taking less than half and firing back with 2 back-to-back returns, outspeeding on both the recharge turn and the KO turn to earn the win, the championship, and a deathless run. So far. But you know this channel, it ain't over until every trainer gravels at the feet of Cha. Speaking of which, it's time to make the Kanto Gym leaders gravel to the feet of the Fire Master, starting with Lieutenant Surge. Naturally, Typhlosions rips this team a new one with Earthquake, KOing Raichu, Left Electrode, Right Electrode, Electabuzz, and Magneton to win the Thunder Badge damage list. Second is Sabrina leading Espeon as I go with Rapidash, nailing 5 returns across the Evolution, Mr. Mime, and Alakazam to earn the Marsh Badge damage list just as well. I'm starting to think Northern Lion had a point in regards to Pokemon players. Now, if you thought Erica was going to be a challenge, I have some waterfront property in Kansas I'd like you to purchase. Fire Blast on Tangela, Jumpluff Victory Bell, and Blossom from Rapidash, and that's the Rainbow Badge once again, damageless. Right on down to Fuchsia City, and it's 4 for 8 in terms of damageless fights against Kanto Gym leaders as Magmar is able to walk in there, Thunder Punching Crobat's teeth in while Flamethrower downs both Weezings, Venomoth, and Ariados for another quick win and access to the Soul Badge. Speaking of souls, it's easy enough to rip Brox out from his body after retrieving the machine part. Unfortunately, breaking the damageless streak, but only because of Sandstorm, with Earthquake taking out Graveler and Rhyhorn, Thunder Punch on Amistar, and then a few Earthquakes on his Onix as Sandstorm and a Hyper Potion are employed to attempt to bring Typhlosion to its knees. But frankly, I don't even think this guy has knees, KOing with Earthquake and finishing the fight with a Thunder Punch on Kabutops. 5 down, 3 to go as Misty is the most threatening of the group naturally with the Water type. But I have just the counter. It's called Typhlosion, hitting stuff in the face really hard. Thunder Punch to Golduck, 2 Earthquakes to Quagsire since it's immune to an Electric-type move, a critical Thunder Punch to Lapras, and one last left cross of a Thunder Punch since yes, this Typhlosion's a Southpaw, KOing and winning the most threatening Kanto Gym battle of this run damageless. Oh, I guess Brock is going to keep the record given that Sandstorm actually did damage. Blaine can't even keep up with the power of Typhlosion's Earthquake as it crumples Magcargo, Magmar, and Rapidash into dust, leaving just blue. Given the fact that all of my Pokemon are level 50 and below, I guess it would make sense to bring them up to level 58 since I do actually respect the blue fight. With him leading Pidgeot as I go with, you guessed it, Typhlosion for the most coverage, cooking the bird over medium heat with Fire Punch, providing a double dose with only a wing attack response. This leads to right on this Earthquake since it's gonna KO you, after Sandstorm gets set up. Starting to wonder if I should have Sunny Day on more than just Magmar at this point. He goes down to 2 of them with the following Gyarados curling into a ball at the mere sight of an electric attack in Thunder Punch, and Alakazam to the sight of a physical attack in return, both going down in one shot as Arcanine comes out 5th. Extreme Speed unsurprisingly does some pretty low damage, even to the swapped in Growlithe, though its Sandstorm is still a pain in the absolute bum to deal with, so I'm only able to get off a single dig for a little less than half before being swapped into Rapidash forcefully, barely missing the KO with return because God knows he hasn't given me enough trouble recently with ranges. And that we gotta fill that quota by the end of the year because I haven't done that many Nuzlocks and I need to get more out by the end of the year. Despite Blue's insistence on spamming full restores through that, Rapidash finally gets fed up, eventually landing 2 returns that high roll just enough to down Arcanine, leaving just Executor to experience the feeling of arson, earning me the Earth Badge and safe passage into Mount Silver. That is, only once I have my remaining encounters. I'm gonna need an HM user to get to Red, so that just leaves me 5 encounter slots. Actually, in hindsight, that's only for Heart Gold Soul Silver. You don't need a single HM user heading into the red fight in the original Johto games, but frankly, I'm too lazy to go get a Firestone, so I'm sticking with Typhlosion, Magmar, Rapidash, the Magcargo I caught on Route 17 as a Slugma, and the Houndoom I caught at Route 7 as a Houndour. The fact that both fun, cool Johto fire types are trapped only in Kanto and can't be good substitutes for Typhlosion is such a crime. Ow, I just hit my fucking fist on the desk while I was talking. I don't usually leave these into the script, but I legitimately came down on my middle knuckle while I was reading off my script, and now it hurts. Ow. Heart Gold Soul Silver almost nailed it by giving Primo a Fire-type egg, but he gave the wrong one in Slugma. It's not like the worst Pokemon in the world, but it's just so underwhelming in comparison to the power of the Hellhound that is Houndoom. Speaking of, I think the red fight demonstrates his power more than well enough. Even with a lowered level cap thanks to taking stat experience into account, but only after Typhlosion KOs Pikachu with Earthquake and Espeon with a mix of Return and Flamethrower. Out comes Blastoise third, and here comes Houndoom on a Rain Dance, getting both the free switch and easy outspeed for Sunny Day to make Whirlpool do jack all. Which I guess it was gonna do anyway when it missed, letting Solar Beam get a critical one-shot. Despite the follow-up Snorlax's massive hulking special defense, I don't give a damn how high that is. Houndoom's at least two-shotting you with sun-boosted flamethrowers. Naturally, that means Charizard and Venusaur are left, and the former has to come out unless Red wants to send Venusaur into the criminal chicken crisper. Charizard, though, really can't stand up to the partial dark typing of Houndoom, as while he resists Flamethrower, I belt out 2 crunches to tear through the flesh of the lizard, not dragon, leaving just Venusaur to provide the fresh scent of roses as it's burnt to a crisp with a single Flamethrower, sending Red off the mountain like Rey Mysterio being tossed off of the top of WWE headquarters, proving that you can indeed beat Pokemon Gold and Silver in a hardcore Nuzlocke setting using only fire types, and without legendaries. Frankly, I was never going to use Entei or Ho-Oh. I just thought it would be funny if I just put them in my party, and I could at least use Ho-Oh for the Fly HM. And everybody else pulled off their roles well, and my play was certainly much improved compared to the last Nuzlocke I did in Yellow with only to the Dratini family. But with that said, thank you for watching, and if there's a monotype hardcore Nuzlocke I haven't done yet that you want me to do, feel free to toss me a super thanks in the comments below. And with that, stay safe, stay healthy, I'll see you next time.